All right, that's it. Here we are. It's 7 o'clock right here on the East Coast, and it is 4 o'clock out there on the West Coast. I am your host, DJ Remark with Horror Sucks, and my co-host with me, Mr. Kanan Becker, Ghost Pirate Entertainment. What's up, buddy?
What's up, bro? How you doing?
Oh, man,
you excited?
Today's the day. Let's go through. Rebecca's in the chat. Hey, Rebecca. Let's go Hellgate. Hell yeah. B-Movie says first. Almost B-Movie Theater. Nicole's on the Nicole's saying hi to Summer. We have a special guest today. Yes. She's not on yet, but we'll be getting to her a little bit later. B-Movie says hi, Summer. Stephanie says hi, Summer. Everybody's here to see Summer. B-Movie Theater says so hyped for this trailer reveal. Caitlin, yay, Summer. Heather's hyped. Let's go. Yeah. Saya says, hey, Spooks, tonight's the big night. Woo! We're going to see it. I'm so stoked. Also, Sal, let's get this party started. Al said,
if you were on the Ghost Pirate, we're going to be turning off the stream before too long. So make sure you get over to the Death Rattle channel, because that's where we're going to be streaming the majority of this episode. And from now on too, like we're going to try to do a soft switch over. So we'll probably start with both for a little while, but then as the stream's going, continue to turn off the Ghost Pirate side so that more and more people realize that if you want to see the majority of the streams, you're going to have to go over to the Death Rattle podcast YouTube channel.
That's right. So
can you put the link? Did you?
I will set the link right now.
Okay. Cool.
Let me get it. I will send it in the Ghost Pirate chat. So just 1 second. There we are. Death Rattle podcast. So the Ghost Pirate chat. Here it comes.
Yeah, you're leaving a link right now, Al.
Bam, right there. It's in the chat on the Ghost Pirate side, because we are going to be phasing out Ghost Pirate here pretty soon. We love you guys, but we would love to see you over at the Death Rattle podcast. Yeah. And if you want to see the Hellgate premiere trailer, you have to be watching on the Death Rattle side, because when we're ready to go live with the premiere, we're turning off Ghost Pirate. So come on over. It's a party. It's awesome. And that's where you can see all this cool stuff. But we're going to kick off the show. We got a bit of news, and we have another movie we want to talk about a little bit. We're going to get to the premiere. Don't worry. We know that you're all here for Summer and the premiere, not us. So we know that. But but we want to talk a little bit. And
one of my favorite movies this year.
Al says he just subscribed. Thank you. B-Movie says come on over. We have cookies. So
the first movie that really feels like an actual summertime movie.
There it is on the screen. If you guys didn't see it in the chat, go to the Ghost Pirate chat. I just
penned it.
That's okay. He got penned it. Sweet. All right.
Yep.
Okay. So Dangerous Animals. Okay. Let's talk about this. What'd you think? You said it's your favorite movie of the summer.
Yeah, I fucking love it. Because it's like, to me, it's the first one that really feels like a summertime movie. Like, it's got surfing, it's got bikinis, it has sharks, but it also has that Wolf Creek serial killer kind of vibe to it as well, which makes it a full-blown horror movie. So I don't know, it just scratched that sweet spot for me that every year we don't always get a summertime, like real summertime horror movie. But when we do, and especially if they're not, because like we're getting I Know What You Did Last Summer, and we get a lot of IP summertime stuff, but I can't think of the last decent summertime type of slasher horror movie in the summer that, like, I can't think of one. Like, I thought Hell of a Summer might be that, but it wasn't.
Yeah, but that also came out. That also came out in what, February?
Yeah,
March.
Well, either way, I mean, still like but that one is really not a horror movie, and like I think this is very much a horror movie.
Yeah. So okay, well, it didn't hit like that for me.
I know it didn't. Of course it didn't. Nothing ever hits like that for you.
Well, that's not true.
You're opposed to fun.
That's not true. Bloodlines hit like that for me.
Yeah. But I love Bloodlines, but Bloodlines doesn't feel like a summertime movie to me.
I don't know. It kind of felt like that for me. And I thought it
Really?
did. Oh yeah.
I mean, I
thought it
guess
did.
there is like the backyard barbecue scene and stuff.
Yeah, there's all of that.
Yeah.
I loved Bloodlines. This one
So
just didn't
do I.
hit for me. Like it's
But
here's
this
what
is
I'll
like
say. Here's what I'll say about it.
that's a weird comparison though, because like I think tonally this and Bloodlines are very, very different. Like this movie's
Yeah.
not, this one's not like it's not meant to be anyway, like a B-rated kind of fun, silly
Right.
movie. This is a much more
Right.
serious, pretty fucked up movie. Like
Well, and
there's a
that's
bit of meanness in it.
and that's why it didn't necessarily. I guess that's why it didn't necessarily hit for me, because I wasn't going into it expecting a horror comedy. I wasn't going into it expecting anything, to be honest.
Yeah.
I went in completely no expectations, and it's one of those movies that just kind of it both met and failed to meet my no expectations, if that makes any sense. Like there's parts of it that I was like, okay, I was
But
expecting
it has such great characters, dude.
Jay
Like you're the character guy. You're always about writing, and the characters are great.
Jay Courtney did a great job as Tucker. I thought he was the most interesting character. I didn't like
who's
Zephyr. Tucker.
Oh,
Tucker.
the boyfriend or the love interest?
No, the killer.
Oh, the killer. Okay.
Yeah, I thought he
I
was
forget his name.
I thought it's Tucker. I thought he was the most interesting. And I thought Jay Courtney,
I mean, it's his movie. That's why I said it's like Wolf Creek. Whereas you don't come away from Wolf Creek remembering or giving a shit much about like the victims. Wolf Creek is interesting because of I'm spacing on his name, but the serial killer, the killer guy.
Like got Summer in the chat waiting to
very
come on.
similar. Well, bring her on.
No, but she hasn't seen it, so she's just gonna be sitting here while we fight about it. But okay. She said one thing about DJ, he's always got an opinion. That's right. She knows me.
Well, so do I. So
right.
That's why
here's the thing. So what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but like he's a very memorable killer, dude.
I'm trying to give. Well, if you'd let me, I'm trying to give the movie its flowers. I'm trying to do that. Okay. I thought Jay Courtney did a great job. I thought it's definitely an original film for a shark movie. The way that he uses sharks to kill people is interesting, but I didn't like the character Zephyr. I thought they did a bad job introducing her. The first face she makes is like a gross face, and then she is rude to Moses until he like persists enough, and then she's finally like, all right, fine. And then
I love her because I love that about her, because instead of her being your, like that kind of final girl, she's not that, but she's also not the like Sigourney Weaver or Sarah Connor's badass either. Like she felt very real. Like she's badass in a way and has like, because she lives on her own out of this van and travels around surfing, like she really has her guard up and is, I'm sure, hit on constantly by guys because she's on her own. My ex-girlfriend was almost exactly, when I met her at least, was almost exactly personality-wise like this girl, where you had to, she didn't just let anybody in her like guard, you know what I mean? Like she was always very protective, and you had to stick around for a minute and not just, try to, sleep with her, so to speak, to, you know what I mean? Like, and that's deal with this one where it's like, he's a good looking guy, successful, but she's like, I'm not interested.
Yeah, but she immediately, but then that night she fucks him.
Because she's not against that. She just not going to just let some guy swoop in. She just happens like they clicked. So she's not against clicking with someone, but that's why.
But where do you see that before they're in the van? She does nothing but just like talk shit and have a nasty like face on. What I'm trying to say is I just don't, as the movie progresses, she starts to like show more of a character, but I just think they did a bad job introducing her. If they would have introduced her a little bit better to where you're just not like, why is she just,
but I think
everybody?
But no, I think that's the point. And like, I liked that. Because your initial response is not going to be like, normally a girl like this is like, oh, this is the heart, like heartthrob. This is the hot bikini chick. You know what I mean? But instead they introduce you to this girl where you're like, I don't really like her. Like she's kind of a bitch. And then as the movie goes, you start to understand why. And you start to see that she's not just a bitch. She's just very guarded and defensive and like, You know what I mean? Like
That
I've
just didn't.
known
That here's the
orphans
thing.
and people that grew up and have a bit of that, you know?
Yeah, that just didn't work for me, is what I'm trying to say. And there's plenty of ways that you can have a character like that, and you can introduce that character, and she can still have this moment of humanity, and give us a reason to root for her. There is ways to do that. It's just I don't think they did it very well in this one. So it took me a while to
But you're supposed
warm up
to
to her.
Yeah, and that's what they wanted to do. And like
That's
what I appreciated about that. I like that it didn't just, you weren't immediately like in love with her and behind her from the jump. But like if anything, the love interest guy, you're more of like, he's the likable one, you're like, which is what I really liked about the movie, is because they set it up. It's hard to talk about this without spoiling it. But they set it up where a good chunk of this movie, you are not sure if anybody's going to survive this, or if it's going to be like a Wolf Creek where the serial killer wins and just kills everyone. You don't know if it's going to end up that way. You don't know if the different, which one of the characters is going to die. And so you're always on edge through the majority of this movie. And I think it was really effective at that, because so many movies now like this, from the beginning, like you're like, yep, they're, this may be a fun ride, but I know the so-and-so is going to survive. I know this guy is going to survive. I know, this girl is going to survive or whatever. And so like up until literally basically the final shot of the movie almost, until you finally are like, oh, okay, I could take a deep breath.
Yeah, that it wasn't that for me. I never feared for her life during this movie. And it's not because she was laden with plot armor. I don't think they did that. I wasn't as invested in how she was going to survive. I thought it was interesting the way that they made her get out of the room as many times as she did, and was able to spring some of the she was able to spring some of the traps. That one scene, I guess, I don't know if it's really a spoiler, but just it's a permanent thing that she had to do.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like that
was pretty, for me,
a lot of surprises that you don't expect in it.
It kind of came out of nowhere, and I was just like, geez, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, and then what also didn't hit for me was just, I was expecting more, I guess, visceral focus on the actual shark attacks, and you only got one.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because so this has been promoted as a shark movie, and it's not. It's a serial killer. I don't even know what category this is, because it's like a serial killer kind of movie. It's not really a slasher. And a lot of movies like this get, like Wolf Creek, they get put into that slasher category, but they're not really a slasher either. Someone needs to kind of come up with its own subgenre, because movies like this, they kind of are a little different. You know what I mean? They're not. So this one is not a shark movie. It's not a shark movie.
It's not a shark movie.
You only really, like you said, there's that one scene, which is a beautiful fucking scene towards the end, where you really get to see the shark. Like, that is fucking cool. Like, in a theater. It sucks because this is one of those movies that most people are going to see it at home, and some of the shots in this will still be cool, but not nearly as cool and impactful as it is on a big screen.
I thought the most interesting shot was in the beginning during the shark diving sequence. That's where I was like, okay, this is nice. Everything else kind of seemed pretty basic to me.
Well, I think that was real.
Ending, it might have been.
That beginning shot, that was my one complaint about this, really, was the trailer. Because this opening scene, if you've seen the trailer, it literally shows you that's this opening scene. Like him stabbing, that whole opening shot. Yeah. Or that whole setup. It literally shows you that entire first. And I mean, yeah, you're 5 minutes into the movie when all that goes down. But still, if I had seen this that would have been like a nice cold open where you're just like, whoa, shit, I didn't expect that. But yeah, I mean, dude, to me, the star of the show is the killer guy. Like, he's what makes this movie fun and what made it interesting to me. Like, even his dance sequence, what he does for his keepsakes or whatever, instead of like like all the different little quirks, and like when she smashes his camera, that whole thing was cool because he like freaks the fuck out because it's part of his ritual. And like just stuff like that. I really liked because like I watched so many of these fucking movies, and it's so rare to see any little new ideas, you know.
Yeah.
And
Hang on, I want to answer, guys. We have not done the trailer premiere yet. So for those of you just joining, we're talking about Dangerous Animals. We're gonna get to the premiere. We're just waiting for people to step in, and I guess now it's a good reminder.
We're gonna turn off the Ghost Pirate stream.
Yeah, if you are watching on the Ghost Pirate side, we're going to be shutting that off. We're only going to be watching the premiere on the Death Rattle side. So the link to the Death Rattle side should be pinned in the chat from the Ghost Pirate channel. So if you're watching, go to the Death Rattle side, watch it there, because once we're ready to do the premiere, we're going to be shutting off to the Ghost Pirate side. So
and doing the rest of the stream over there. We're not going to go just show the trailer and be done. Like, we're going to do the majority of the rest of the show over there.
Right. So the rest of the show is going to be taking place over there.
Yeah.
And yes, please hit that like button. So that's it. So, all right. So getting back to Dangerous Animals, like I said, I thought there was a lot of good little things in this. It didn't all come together for me. I wanted to know, I thought it was a lot of good groundwork that they were laying for Tucker's character, but I didn't know the significance of it all. The only hint that we got was he thinks he's a shark and he has reverence for sharks and he thinks that he's doing something for nature, but that doesn't explain.
I don't really come up with that. Like, he doesn't think he's a shark. He's attacked by a shark when he's a kid and survives. And so like
but he calls her a marlin.
Yeah. He sees himself not as an actual shark though. I just mean like, he doesn't think he's
he doesn't think he's the animal. Right. I know.
He just thinks of himself as he's the predator. He's the,
right. And he thinks
like everybody else is like the victims.
Right. But his whole ritual thing doesn't necessarily support that. And so I'm just like, why is he doing this? Like, what is the significance of it? And we never really got it, which like some people might like, some people might be like, I like the mystery of that. I was hoping for a little bit more,
but that wouldn't have made sense to me if he were to, because most serial killers, they can't even explain to you why they do their ritual. Cause it's like so many, it's kind of like in a weird way, like a YouTube channel, like why you say certain things, like little catchphrases or things on your set. Like so much of it just happens organically. And if someone asks you why you do that, it's like, you don't even, it's just, it kind of builds itself.
Right. But he's very intentional in what he does. So there has to be something rituals
don't
that.
But they don't.
That's why there's a ritual. There's an intent.
No, but most serial killers, it takes therapists years to, and even then, the serial killer doesn't usually know why they do it. A lot of the stuff will have to do with like deep-seated shit from when they were kids, different things that happened to them along the way. They can't explain why they do the rituals the way they do. Like even in Dexter, like Dexter doesn't, he doesn't, you know what I mean? Like he has all his different ritual stuff. It never explains really why he does a lot of the things that he does. It's a signature type of thing.
In his soliloquies, he kind of talks about what it does as far as the beauty of it all. And so he does. So like he thinks he thinks he's carrying out justice, even though he knows he's a murderer. And this is an urge that he has.
But the difference is you have multiple seasons of him narrating.
Right.
Too.
So just give me a something. I don't feel like we got anything is what I'm trying to say. And I thought it was interesting what he was doing. So I was like, if we're going to explore this character, let's explore it. I don't care about Zephyr. We can have her just be a character. But if we're going to explore this Tucker guy, which is what it seemed like we were doing, then let's do it.
It's like Wolf Creek. Same with that movie. Like, you don't know why he does, like why he plays with his, like he has to hunt them, and like it doesn't explain to me. I like that. I prefer that. I'm not saying that you can't do both, because I think you can do both. But I like when a movie leaves it mysterious like this, because it makes that character and that killer makes him much more intimidating. Like
Yeah.
the mystery of it. Like sometimes you explain so much, and it's like, you know, if you make sequels or whatever, then that's to me when you might want to start to like kind of explore the mysteries of why this killer is the way they are and stuff. But I don't know if you give away a mystery too early, because like when would you even, like when are you going to explain why he does the things he does, really? And
During the
he
dance
does
sequence,
explain, but he does
like
explain some of it.
He explains his
Motives,
his
and
motive, but he
yeah,
doesn't. But that's it. And
but
during
that's
that
what I
dance
mean. Like
sequence,
some
you
of
could
that,
hint, but you could hint to some of what the other parts of the ritual mean during that dance sequence, instead of just being like, "Look, doesn't he dance weird?" You know what I mean? Like you could use that.
well, I think all of that is more of his God complex. Like that's him celebrating. Like that whole dance sequence is just like him celebrating, because it's like his drug. You know what I mean? The whole thing of it. Because there's a lot of this I could get into, but then it's way too spoilery.
Right.
But like
No, I know.
he talks about why he does the whole with the sharks and stuff. He does explain what he's going for, like why he keeps doing it over and over and doing it in that way. Like he does explain that. But then after that, like the whole dance sequence and all that, it's like a drug for him. Like that's literally, he's like high and he's just dancing, and like there's that God complex moment, you know, where he's like no shirt and just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So
but
I'm
just saying, like everything that we're talking about, this is just a little tiny Shutter release.
Yeah. So I
like
reviewed this.
You're too hard on like, I can understand having like some of the problems you have with it, like, but it's such a tiny little indie movie. This is stuff that I would have some issue with, but it was tiny. Like it is. It's a Shutter release, dude. It's an IFC Shutter. It's going straight to Shutter.
I mean, okay, but
it's in less than 500 theaters.
I'm trying to find the budget. It just says the box office. I can't find the actual budget of the film.
It's got to be under $1 million. It's an Australian.
No, it's not under $1 million. There's no way.
Shutter does not pay that much for movies. They can't afford to pay.
It's IFC Films as well.
Yeah, they're always dual like IFC Shutter partner up to put these horror movies out, and like most of them are well under $1 million. But they're bought by Shutter, so like they're already made by a different
I don't know if you're gonna. I don't know if you're gonna.
Shutter buys them.
I don't know if you're gonna get Jay Courtney I think they spent at least $1 million on this. It doesn't matter. So in my review,
that's tiny for a movie.
I still recommend watching it,
because like I think it's a 3.5, maybe a 4 out of 5. Like probably a 3.5 out of 5.
I wouldn't go that high. I would say 3.
It's above average.
Is probably fine. It's just, yeah, like it hit on some areas and missed on some for me. I thought it was fine.
I think most horror fans, who I speak for a lot more than you, not saying that there are not fans that look at things the way you do. They're not trying to diss you by any means by saying this, but like I am more in line with most, because most aren't as harsh on movies. I'm not going to say you're a hater, but you are pretty harsh and critical on movies. Most of fans are not they just want to be entertained. And I think this is going to be a hit. I think most horror fans are going to freak out about this movie when it hits Shudder in a couple weeks.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Dude, yeah, so people were freaking out about what's the one where you're taking a long walk through nature? In a Violent Nature.
In a Violent Nature. Yeah.
Yeah. Most of them fucking freaked out about that movie. This movie's way better than that one.
I think.
Okay, I won't say way better, but this is better. It's more fun and more interesting than that one. There's never a time when you're bored in this movie. You may not be as invested in certain characters or whatever.
Yes, there is more
You're not
action in this
ever
film,
bored
yeah.
in this movie.
There is more action in this movie. Yes. You're
They get
you
super
are right.
hits, and it has a great soundtrack.
I wasn't really listening.
Dude, it's got a lot of like 1970s songs and stuff, but I like the soundtrack so much. I actually went and got it on Spotify. Like got the whole
The
soundtrack.
movie's soundtrack. Okay. All right.
Yeah. It's like a bunch of bangers. I'm surprised
No.
you didn't notice the soundtrack, because it's a lot of like, it's not just, most of the soundtrack for the movie is not what is it called? Like it actually has a soundtrack. It's not a score. Like there is a score, but like there's a lot of actual songs in it. Whereas a lot of movies nowadays, there's not much as far as a soundtrack. Most movies, it's more of just a score.
Yeah. All right, let's see what the chat has to say. They're not really talking about this movie. They're talking about Frailty. Hal says, I watched Frailty the other night with Paxton.
Frailty's incredible. I saw that before it was in theaters, dude. I got to see an advanced screening of it years and years and years ago.
Well, aren't you awesome? People are seeing advanced screenings of 28 years later now, and I'm jealous.
Yep. I have a bunch of friends that went and saw it, and every one of them, there's some reviews going up now too, but everybody I've heard,
I
haven't watched any reviews, but what I've heard is good things. So
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I want to watch a review or not, but
I'm not. I'm going to see it tomorrow. So like, I'm not watching. I've only seen like Twitter posts where like my friend Justin.
Baker Man says, back again, same bat time, same bat channel. Horace says, yo, what's up? Hope everybody is well.
All right, we are about to go over to the Death Rattle podcast and turn off the Ghost Pirate stream.
We're getting there.
So you guys only have a couple minutes left to go over to the Death Rattle podcast side.
Yeah, as soon as I get done with these chats, we're going to be heading over there. So the main event is coming. Jennifer says Frailty's awesome.
In the chat. On the
Bryce says it's a little like Michael Myers. We don't really know why he kills. He just does. Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, because there's a lot of them where we know a ton about them. You know, like Freddy, we know a ton about. Like, there's a lot of killers. And so it's nice to have some that there is that mystery, you know, to them.
David says 2011 Shark Night. I don't think I've seen that. Jack Doobie says it was good enough.
Dude.
Cool survivor flick.
No, this movie's better than Shark Night.
Clever Cleaver
the
says
whole thing about Shark Night is the glow in the dark sharks. That's it. Other than that movie's like.
Clever Cleaver says, question, shark infused as a concept. Would you say that Dangerous Animals is better than other modern realistic creature features like 47 Meters Down, better than Under Paris?
Yes, better than Under Paris, on par with 47 Meters Down.
Yeah, but I think 47 Meters Down and this are different movies.
Kinda. Like, they both are super intense. Like, I feel like they're both more thriller than your normal horror. Like, they're both horror movies, but like they're more in that thriller survival, you know, like movies like Fall, and you know what I mean? Like, there's a bit of that to them. More 47 Meters Down has that, but both of the movies have that really like on the edge of your seat, intense pretty much the whole movie.
Bryce says, hey, Kanan, that's actually a decent idea for a 10 movies on your channel. You could do a top 10 soundtracks to horror movies. You could.
Nope.
Oh, no.
You can't.
Oh, right. Because of copyright.
Yep. That's why nobody does it. Everybody wants to.
Okay.
Hey, I see a pretty woman backstage.
We are about to go over to the Death Rattle side. So if you are watching on Ghost Pirate, the stream's about to die. Come over to the Death Rattle side, please. You have 5 more seconds to get over to the Death Rattle side. We are killing the Ghost Pirate, and we're moving on. 3, 2.
Well, there's a delay. You got to remember there's a delay.
Oh, right. Okay. All right.
1.
We're out of here.